I'm Bethany Powell, a graduate student here at Northwestern in the Biomedical Engineering Department. It's the time of year when students are going back to school. And I don't know about you, but when I was in middle school and even in high school, a lot of the boys in my class looked like this at the end of the school year, like little boys. And then we'd come back after summer break, and they'd look more like this, like grown men. This might be an exaggeration, but it gets at the idea that puberty causes drastic changes in the musculoskeletal system. And we know that those changes are different for men and for women. And those differences are pretty easy to observe. Men and women develop different muscle strength, different bone size and density, and different skeletal alignment at puberty. Those differences are pretty obvious, but what's not so clear is how sex hormones continue to affect the musculoskeletal system after puberty. One example of where this might be important is after a knee injury. How many people in the audience have had some sort of knee injury? Raise your hands. A good number of people. Unfortunately, people with knee injuries tend to get cartilage damage, and that damage is actually worse for women. A lot of researchers think that sex hormones contribute to that difference in cartilage damage, but they have no idea how. That's my research. I want to understand how sex hormones contribute to cartilage damage after an injury. Today I'll talk to you about some other differences that could contribute to that difference in damage, and then I'll talk to you about why I think sex hormones are the most important factor, and then I'll tell you about the research I'm doing building computer models to try to describe the process and why that's important. Another difference between men and women, aside from sex hormones, is bone alignment. Women's knees tend to come in more from the hips than men's, and that will lead to different forces on the knee joint, and that will lead to different wear and tear, leading to different cartilage damage. Similarly, men and women have different muscle strength and activation patterns, which will again put different forces on the knees, leading to different wear and tear. All of these factors are the same before an injury and after an injury, though. So they don't really explain why women only have worse cartilage damage after an injury. And that's why I think sex hormones are the most important factor, because sex hormones regulate inflammation, and inflammation is only present after an injury. So after the injury, a whole cascade of things happens, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So the joint becomes inflamed, and the inflammation causes the production of enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs. These enzymes basically cut the structural component of the cartilage. You can think of them like a pair of scissors. That structural component of the cartilage is known as collagen, and it forms a rope-like structure, so individual threads twist together to form bundles, and those bundles bundle together to form this strong, durable rope-like structure. And like I said, MMPs cut that structure. They cut the individual threads of the rope and reduce the integrity of the structure and reduce the integrity of the cartilage. And this is really bad because once the damage is done, you can't undo it. There's no way to repair the cartilage once it has started to get destroyed. So you want to stop that as soon as possible, or if at all possible. Fortunately, testosterone helps do that, because testosterone reduces inflammation, which then reduces the production of MMPs, and then that reduces collagen destruction. But unfortunately, estrogen does the opposite. It actually increases inflammation, which then increases the production of MMPs and increases that permanent destruction of the collagen in the cartilage. So in my work, I'm trying to build computer models to describe this process and really quantify the difference in cartilage damage between men and women. In one model, I'm trying to describe how hormones influence the inflammation and how the inflammation affects MMP production, essentially connecting MMPs to hormones. In two other models, I'm describing how the MMPs actually interact with the collagen. In the first of those, I'm looking at a very, very detailed model of a single MMP interacting with just a fragment of a single collagen molecule. And the results from that model can be incorporated into a larger model of the rope-like structure of collagen with numerous MMPs acting on it, which can serve as a measure of degradation. And the number of MMPs on that rope-like model will be determined from the first model that connects hormones to MMPs. Together, these three models will allow us to compare degradation in a male joint with testosterone to degradation in a female joint with estrogen, allowing us to really quantify the difference between men and women after a knee injury and their cartilage damage. So why is this important? Why should we care about building computer models? Well, building computer models helps us understand the process and quantify it. And if we can understand what's going on, we can disrupt it and prevent the permanent cartilage damage that occurs after a knee injury, especially in women who are at higher risk because of sex hormones. Thank you.